I guess I'm wrong in assuming that everyone should understand who this is. For those of you who've been here day one, you already know. And for those of you who don't, it's brasstax, baby. 4K rockstar, 3D maverick, 4K reviewer, the best. What a fantastic month for entertainment, huh? You had Justice League, the Snyder Cut, which is absolutely amazing. I know a lot of you people are waiting for the 4K Blu-ray, and I'd say, look, just watch it. Watch it on HBO Max or wherever you can in the UK. Sky has it in the UK, in 4K. So you guys should watch it, support it. Because if Warner sees this and they see how many people are watching this, you know they're gonna reinstate that Snyderverse. And it is an epic movie. I don't know how you guys can wait. I couldn't wait. I had to watch it straight away. But yeah, we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the first episode, which I really loved. I'm really looking forward to see what happens next. And at the end of the month, Godzilla v Kong. Oh my. So I guess it's only appropriate that we review Godzilla 2014. Just came out. Well, it's not out yet for you guys, but it'll be out soon. 2014 version, the prequel to King of the Monsters, on 4K Blu-ray. Now, I'm going to give you my brief thoughts on the movie itself. I remember watching it in the theatre and it had Atmos there, and I remember the Atmos was absolutely panty-dropping thunderous. And the movie itself, I mean, apart from Bryan Cranston, I just thought, I wasn't a big fan of Godzilla. And I think the reason for that was because I did not care about the characters at all. Characters took up an inordinate amount of time, and I just felt that they were wooden. That kick-ass guy, can't remember his name, the actor, right? But that kick-ass guy was so wooden in this movie, I didn't even realize he was the kick-ass guy. I only found out afterwards. I'm like, damn, this guy is absolute garbage in this. I did not care. I was hoping he would die. I ain't gonna lie to you. They got rid of the most intriguing character first, and they left us with a bunch of duds. I felt that the special effects were really, really good in this, albeit a little dark. And the build-up was there. I could not wait for the fights, for the big scale monster fights. And I think the one mistake they made in this movie, which they corrected, they corrected a lot of stuff in King of the Monsters, but the one mistake they made in this movie was the fights were great, and as soon as it started getting really good, they cut back to the duds, to the people I wasn't even interested in. And it happened so much in this movie, it became infuriating. That kind of put me off. It did. But, I mean, like I said, King of the Monsters was fantastic, and March 31st can't come soon enough. Now, I didn't hate this movie, probably sounds like I do, but I thought it was okay. I thought it could have been better with just some editing, you know, just let the monsters fight, damn it, you know, and let's not have any cutaways. But like I said, what can you do? Now, I watched the 1080p Blu-ray not so long ago, and I did feel that transfer was a little muddy for me, and overly dark for sure. Now, I read in multiple sources that there was a color regrading for the 4K transfer. Got me a little excited. I was curious to see how it would look, because the 1080p was a bit muddy, you know, a little grayish. It needed some pop. So let's have a look, people. Let's go through some tech specs first. It's got a 2K DI. I know what some of you are thinking. If it's not 4K, I ain't interested. Guess what? Doesn't make a difference. A lot of your top 10 movies are probably 2K DIs. But what can you do? HDR10, no Dolby Vision on this. You got the black bars, Dolby Atmos, and a little over 2 hours. 100 gig disc, which I think should be the default for all 4K Blu-rays from this point on. Now, although this isn't a reference quality transfer, it's not going to win the brasstax seal of approval. It is a very nice, noticeable upgrade over its 1080p counterpart. If there is any grain in here, I can't see it. It's very, very fine, if that. I mean, it looks like a very clear picture to me. And although it's not razor sharp, you are noticing a lot more detail in this than you would have seen before. Pores on Kick-Ass's face, you know, army fatigues have a lot more texture to them. And throughout this movie, even in locations such as Tokyo and what have you, you're noticing a bump in brightness and contrast that was not present on the 1080p. Kick-Ass's leather jacket has a few more folds in it, more sheen to it. And I can't be sure, but I think on some of the close-ups, there may be very, very, very subtle DNR. Very subtle. I mean, it didn't offend me at all. It's probably not going to offend you, but it just felt like it was just a little smoothed out in places. Just a little bit. Just a hair. We all know what kind of hair I'm talking about. God damn, Bryan Cranston looks beat up in this movie, you know. He looks beat up. He looks even more beat up in 4K. One of my biggest concerns when watching a slightly older movie, especially one that was shot in 2014, which wasn't that long ago, granted, but damn, you kind of worry about the visual effects, because in 4K, visual effects take a hit. But thankfully, they didn't hit. The explosions, the fire, the beams, Godzilla, everything looks pretty damn good, I ain't gonna lie to you. Now, although the bump in detail's not gonna drop any panties, you'll definitely appreciate it on this 4K Blu-ray. But I think the bigger differences are the brightness, the contrast, and the HDR. Now, in terms of the HDR, the high dynamic range and the wider color gamut, you are gonna notice a lot more here. It's a less muddy experience. There is more contrast. There is more depth to the color than there was on the 1080p. It's pretty noticeable. And although it's a very kind of muted color tone, it does pop when it needs to. I mean, little things. You got Bryan Cranston looking at this happy birthday decoration above him. And even those colors pop more than they did in the 1080p. Looks good. It's a brighter movie than its 1080p counterpart. Like I said, they've turned the brightness up. And the black levels, I was a little worried about because most of the action takes place at night. I was worried about black crush, especially if you're watching it on OLED. You never know. You never know. You're watching it on OLED, baby. You never know. But I noticed a lot in the dark scenes, which I didn't remember seeing on the 1080p. I didn't watch it that long ago. I watched it again, and it was just little things like the textures on Godzilla at night in the dark. It was just a lot more noticeable here for sure. And although not blinding, the explosions, fire, what's it, Godzilla's the beam thing, I forget what you call it, but those things have more pop to them. They really do pop off the screen. Not blinding, like I said, but definitely brighter. It's definitely a brighter, more contrasty experience on 4K Blu-ray, which it should be anyway. The primary colors stand out a lot more, and you notice a lot more nuance in interior scenes, indoor scenes, and even on clothing as well, that, like I said, 1080p doesn't stand a chance with. You tell your girl to sit on the woofer and see what happens. You know what's gonna happen? She may die, because the Atmos on this is thunderous. I remember it being thunderous in the theater when I watched this, and it's just the same at home. My God. I remember even the 7.1 on the 1080p was pretty damn good, and this just flexes its muscles even more. Helicopters whizzing by overhead, any of the monster battles, the bass is gonna shake the place, and the train attack sequence as well. My God, you're hearing danger from all angles. Your ears are gonna feel violated. Dialogue is crispy and clear in the center channels. The low-end frequency is fantastic, and Atmos kicks in when it's supposed to, and when it does, you'll feel like you're in there with Godzilla. Boxes will need to be changed, and your woman will need to be pried from the subwoofer. I ain't gonna lie to you. And there we have my thoughts on Godzilla. As far as the movie goes, I'm gonna give it about a 6. The 4K transfer, I'm gonna give it a 7.8, 7.9. Doesn't quite hit the 8 for me, but the Atmos track is a 9.5. That may be the one reason to upgrade. It is reference quality near enough. Now, if the 4K disc bumped into the 1080p disc, it may not beat it up, but it will shout it to death because it's got those Atmos lungs. Now, I know a guy, which is why I get these movies early, but I still do pay a bit of a premium for it, and I picked this up, and although it's not a 4K extravaganza in terms of visuals, I did not regret it one bit. It's the best way to watch it. I'm gonna leave some Amazon links for you guys if you want to pre-order through there. It doesn't cost you anything, but Amazon kicks a little something back for your boy. I think it's like 10 cents, but it all adds up, people. All adds up. Alright guys, you take care. I'm gonna catch up with you soon. Listen, subscribe if you haven't already. Like 70% of people who watch my content aren't even subscribed. What's going on? Alright guys, 4K Rockstar. You already know.